everybody. Welcome back to QRP. It's your favourite podcast, your favourite Xbox podcast on the internet. It's got to be. There's 12 of you out there listening, at least. My name's Deck. I'm joined by Tim.
Yeah, my name's Tim. I thought there was a key for me to just be like, my name's Tim. Hello everyone. Hello.
Hi, everyone. This has been maybe the quietest week since we've started the podcast in terms of Xbox news. I forgot to say hi, by the way. We're on camera.
Our physical faces. We are Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I remember that comment. So
yeah, I remember. Somebody compared us to Chris Hemsworth and who's the other guy? Who's Captain America?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. So.
Yeah. Both.
I can see where he's coming from. You know,
absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is obviously the first time we've done everything with a video cam, so hopefully it goes smoothly. I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing will go wrong. We've upgraded from a jingle to face cam. Who knows where we're going next?
Yeah, the quiet weeks are really increasing our production value.
I know.
I've even plugged in my bigger mic this week as well, because
I can see it.
Yeah, normally I can't. Well, I don't say I can't be bothered, but it's the sort of thing where you just log on and I normally use the mic straight from my headset. But I thought I'd put in the effort with the face cam and everything today. So
and you sound great.
I do it for you guys. You all 12 of you. That may not be us refreshing the video over and over.
Yeah, no, you're very special. You're very special to us.
Yeah.
Wow, video games. I know you've had a bit of a busy week. I've my week's been a bit on and off. We've obviously both been playing a bit of Apex as per usual. You're all. By this point, you can just assume that's the default, and we probably don't need to tell you anymore. But we'll try and talk about things that aren't Apex as well. Yeah. So has your week had any variety in that? in there?
To be honest, it really hasn't. No, it's kind of just been Apex. I think I did hop on and play a little bit of Resi, but I'm in a weird spot with Resi where since I sort of went away to go see you in BHAM and watch E3 and do all that sort of stuff. I don't know, when I take like a break from a game, I sort of lose the sort of vibe that I was into it. I don't know, especially if it's a single player game, because I feel like you kind of do have to, you just get into like a groove with it and you're like, oh, I'm enjoying this, I'm part of the atmosphere, all that sort of thing. And then I kind of took a break from it and, I don't know, I just feel a bit sort of separated from it and it's quite hard to get back into now. And that's nothing to do with the game. That's just me. I feel like when I step away from a game, I feel like it's really hard to get back into it. But
yeah, I think everybody gets that.
Yeah. And it's just so different as well, because Apex is obviously just the best movement FPS like you'll ever play in your life. And then Resident Evil 8's like sluggish and slow and like realism. Well, I say realism, it's really not realism, but
it's more grounded.
You kind of get what I mean. And it's one of those things where we always log on straight after work, and because we all work similar hours, we all just want to cut loose and play a game together. So like, I'm pretty sure you'd be pretty bummed out if we both just clocked off work and you're like, Apex, I'm like, fuck you, I'm gonna play Resi. You'll be like, oh, okay. So
there is something to be said about the cleverness of how the games give you that sort of fear of missing out, isn't it? They give you that FOMO and they get you to rope each other on. Because I wouldn't, man. Just to go on the record, if you want to play Resident Evil, you go and play. I've got lots of other things to play.
Yeah. I mean, you say that, but then you were upset that I watched the game last night when you went to.
Well, that's because I wanted to play ranked. But outlier. But that's, to be fair, it's part of the balancing that they make it so you have to be within a certain tier bracket of each other, but also it has that kind of side effect of like, well, you and your friends have to play together, otherwise you get too far away and then you can't play part. It's like you get in PvE games, like Destiny's the same thing. If one of you gets too high a level, then you can't play. So there's this element of like, you've got to play together, or
it does. I like it and I don't, because like it has really screwed us for our rhythm on Apex. one of our mates jumped ahead. Obviously, everyone listening wouldn't know this. He played ranked. He jumped ahead, and obviously, you have to be within like 1 or 2 tiers. So now, like, I mean, we can still play with him, but we play it queues for the highest person. So like that person is in diamond or gold or whatever you want to say. It's diamond for our example. So we get into like really sweaty lobbies, which we're not. I mean, we do play diamond, but it's just harder to gain points and rank up when you're playing in harder lobbies, you know. So it's just a bit annoying. I like it when games do it, and I understand when they do it, but I also find it annoying in these sort of circumstances. You know, but...
and it's also like because, and I think this is probably the same with all game. Maybe I mean it probably is, but like especially with Apex being one of the few battle royales on the market offering ranked mode. I mean, I think Fortnite does. I don't know about COD, but the way it works is that at least like it's the difficulty is kind of exponential. So what I mean by that is the difference between silver and gold is not the same as the difference between diamond and masters. Like the diamond, there's like a country size difference between diamond and masters, but gold and plat is kind of nothing. And maybe that's just me speaking because we play at kind of diamond level, but you know, it's just, the way that it kind of, you know, you buy in for a higher price and you lose more and it's harder to gain more, and obviously all the players are so much better, so it's
oh yeah, no,
and when someone is playing at that higher rank, that's what I mean, it's higher, it's harder to climb and slower. I guess it's the big problem. It's slower. You can't do it. It's just so much slower.
Yeah, I mean the lobbies are insanely different from platinum to diamond. I know you said diamond and masters, and we've never reached masters because it's just insane. Like I know we said we wouldn't talk about Apex, but anyway,
that's what you've been playing, man.
So platinum to diamond, the difference in lobbies is insane. Like everyone just sits in a corner and like just doesn't fight, you know, because they care so much about this buy-in cost, you know, for their ranked points and stuff like that. And platinum, people don't care as much, even though there is only a 12-point difference or something. But it's just a different mindset. Like, but yeah. So end of the day, that's what I've been doing all the week. It's just playing a bit of Apex, dip my toes in Resi again, trying to get back into that. But yeah, nothing too exciting from my end. Just quite busy work-wise and stuff like that. So, but yeah, what about you?
I am. I've been. I'm still playing Mass Effect 3 at the moment, which I'm having a good time with. It's a nice step up.
You're on
2.
Oh, you're on 3 now. You've done 2.
Yeah. I've been on
2 last week.
I did. I think I said I was on 3 last week. I've been on 3 for a couple of weeks now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I got to the end. I really can't remember if I said, but I'm going to say it again because I got to the end and one of like the really cool characters died right at the end of 2, and I'm so pissed off about it because now he's not in 3 at all. And there's like a step-in character who's like just like him, and then he's kind of cool in his own right. But I'm like, you know, I shed a tear every time he speaks because I'm like, this could have been. It's Garrett. I mean, everybody who's played Mass Effect, it's Garrus. He died at the end.
Oh, Garrus. He's the lizard boy, isn't he? He's like a lizardy reptile boy.
He's such a boy. Yeah, because I kept him alive, you know, the whole game, and then literally right at the end, I'm so mad about it. But I get to apparently it's quite hard to do. Like, because I went in blind, I didn't like looking how to like keep people alive, or whatever. But Rex, is one of the other boys I've kept alive, and he's a Krogan. They're like
he's quite cool.
We grew up Vodians, and I managed to keep him alive in Mass Effect 1, which he's kind of rare. But like the story and like the writing behind like the lore with the Krogans is just so fascinating and so cool, and it's such an interesting thing to like have in a game that's based around making decisions and having these like moral grey areas. But anyway, he reappears in like the 3rd game, not as a companion, but he's like with me, so like I'm kind of happy about that. So that's nice. Rex is probably my favourite, so if I had to trade out Rex for Garrus, I would have done, but I'm still not happy about losing Garrus. So anyway, that's happening. Yeah, Garrus is he's such a boy. It's nice. It's a nice step up. I'm playing Vanguard, so it's like a mix of like biotic, so it's like, you know, your kind of telekinetic psychic powers and shotgunning boy. Yeah, really fun. The gameplay is a nice step up from 2. There's still a couple of bits of I don't know why they kept sprint on the A button throughout the whole series, because I remember I moaned about this a couple of weeks ago when I was playing the first Mass Effect. And I thought at one point they'd be like, we're going to modernize this and put it on, but they don't. They keep it on A, and it's weird, and it's not even a problem for me because I have A on a paddle, so I can still keep my thumb on, the stick. But it's like it stiffens up. Like when you're holding it to run, you can't like turn your angle very much.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It doesn't feel nice. But anyway, it's all like minor blemishes on an otherwise really, really good game so far. So I'm looking forward to playing more. And the other thing I've been playing a bit of here and there is Monster Train.
Yes.
Which, if you don't know, is a roguelike deck builder, not dissimilar from Slay the Spire, if you've heard of Slay the Spire. And this is just like an absolutely fascinating genre. It's so interesting to me that indies is the level that like experimentation happens. Yeah. And like someone like, I mean, who even made, I don't even know who made Slay the Spire, but even like these guys who made Monster Train, this is like a largely unexplored genre. Like this is brand new and they've just both fucking killed it. Like it doesn't, absolutely boggles me. And I just love that genre. It's very strange. I know you do as well with Slay the Spire, but it's really good, in its own right. I think it's a shame that it will be looked at as a bit of just like an inferior Slay the Spire, but I think it's just as good, honestly. I think it's better in some ways, and I think it's worse in other ways. It brings its own, it's not a clone. It brings its own unique ideas to the table. You have, instead of like heroes, you have like clans. The idea is that you're on a train and you've got hell. You're trying to get back to hell, and heaven's keeping you out. So you've got like monsters and shit, and there are like 5 clans. So instead of heroes, the clans are what determine what like deck you have. But you pick 2 clans. You have a primary and a secondary, so you always are mixing 2 decks together.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So you have so you always have like different combinations. So I've only just unlocked the 3rd clan. I completed my first run yesterday or something. But there's just a lot of it. There's quite a lot of it.
How many clans are there? Do you know? Like, as a total?
There's 5 in base game, and I think they added 1 or 2 more in the expansion. Okay. But yeah, it's nice. There's just a lot of it.
You mentioned it was on. You're playing on Games Pass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no. It doesn't include the expansions for Games Pass. It's just base game.
It doesn't. No. There's only one DLC from what I've seen. Which seems to be pretty good, but I mean, there's loads to chew on in just the base game. I don't think it's on any other platforms, actually. I think it's just PC and Xbox at the moment. And it's on xCloud as well. I had a little look, and it is on xCloud, so it's a nice little game to be able to play.
That's a great game to play on xCloud. That's literally the type of game I would play on xCloud. Quite chilled out and not so intense, where any sort of lag issues or input delay actually matters too much. For a game like that. Not that you get that much with xCloud, but it's never going to be perfect. So those are the perfect kind of games. You definitely have sort of inspired me to have a look at it. You definitely piqued my interest because I love Slay the Spire. It's insane how many hours I put into it, and I still play it. It is a shame that it's not on the Switch though. This Monster Train game, because I'm
sure it will.
Because it's just, those are the perfect games for Switch. You can just like play it in the car or play it on journeys or whatever. You can just play it while, I don't know, like you're queuing for a game on your Xbox or something like that. You can play it in the toilet.
In the toilet, not on the toilet.
On the toilet. That's a good point. I always say in the toilet. I never say on the toilet.
Do you mean like in the bathroom? You get like mixed up.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. I've heard it before.
In the toilet, mate.
In the toilet, yeah, fair enough.
I know what I said.
Stutter, yeah.
I know what I said. It's definitely something I am absolutely going to give a go. And in all honesty, I didn't know. It never caught my eye until you mentioned it, and I gave it a Google. Like, I didn't actually. I heard of it, but weirdly enough, I just thought it was like a mobile game. And then you were like, "No, it's on Games Pass. It's just like Slay the Spire. It's on." I don't know if it's. Did you say it was on Steam or is it like Windows Store or something?
I don't know. Yeah, I
Games
know it's
Pass.
on PC. I don't know what storefront it's on.
But yeah, I literally just thought it was just like a mobile game or something, and then I was like, oh, it actually kind of isn't, and this kind of looks like a game I could lose my life to. So I
Yeah,
definitely will give it a go. Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool. It's yeah, like I said, it does have its own ideas. There's like, you know, the basic loop is that you have 3 floors to defend, and your heart is at the top, like the heart of the train or the pyre, and enemies come in at the bottom, and if they aren't killed, they move up a floor. So you've got to like strategically figure out what to do with each floor, where to put. Like, do you have defensive people at the bottom, defensive at the top, and like you can get obviously effects, like you can get effects to like root them, so a certain enemy can stay on that floor for an extra turn. And then you'll have like bosses that come in at the end, and like it's because it's all the enemies are like heaven themed, which is like a really cool like subversion. They're like giant angels that come in, and like they're bosses. And when you get to the very end, they just fight. It's really tense, actually. It's really cool. They just like fight They start at the bottom, and they just keep going. So usually an enemy, if they're not killed, if you do half the health, they climb the floor. But if it's a boss, they just keep going until that floor's dead, and then they blast and get rid of that floor and move up. So if you don't have it lined up to kill them by the end, they'll just get to the top and kill the heart. So they just blow out each floor. They just freeze it over. Yeah, it's got some really cool ideas. I'm excited to see this genre keep building, because it's just in general we've had such an explosion of roguelikes in like the last 3 years, and it's just cool to see it expanding to a deck builder game. Like it's weird.
Yeah, no, they're awesome games, and I will always welcome more of them. Like genuinely,
Yeah.
I can never get enough, and I always have an itch to go back to Hearthstone as well all the time, until I realise just how much money it really takes to play that game.
Yeah.
That's what tends to turn me off. Which I guess is actually a segue into maybe what we wanted to talk about.
It is,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Topic of the day.
I didn't even plan that. I did not even plan that.
Amazing. Yeah. This is why you're the co-host.
Mm-hmm.
So, topic of the day. Like we did this last weekend. I figured there's something kind of interesting to speak about, especially running off the back of Tim's purchase of Revenant's heirloom on Apex Legends, which, if you don't know, is a cosmetic melee skin. Looks really cool, but Respawn are quite cheeky in how they do this usually, because they bring out an event, and to get access to the heirloom, or at least to guarantee access to it, rather than getting a 1 in 500 chance in the loot boxes, you have to buy everything in the event, and there's 24 items, and it's about 70 quid's worth of stuff.
Way more than that.
I was giving you a chance to save face.
Oh,
that's fine.
Oh, okay. Damn it!
Way more. I've had to get a mortgage, sold my car.
Yeah. No, it costed me about that. But like generally, if you were to actually just purchase everything outright in the event, I think it's about £110 or like £115 or something like that. If you were to just like, not craft anything using like other currencies or that kind of thing, just like raw go in and buy everything. Yeah, I think it's like £110, £115.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's in dollars, we're talking $140 or something.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a fair bit of money. So to directly ask the question, when is paying for cosmetics in a game okay? And what's a good price? Because there has been a lot of contention around, like a microtransaction. Do you remember when this all started? Do you remember, was it Oblivion? When everybody got pissy about horse armor. There was this whole thing about horse armor, and you could buy it as a DLC package. And that was kind of like the first time, at least in the console space, where you could buy, like a la carte, like add-ons to the game. And I think, and they had like power level attached, it had like a certain amount of army. And it wasn't a huge deal, but whatever. And everybody was like, oh, this could be the sign of things to come. And they were right. They did, in fact, open the gates of Oblivion. So, it's just that question, because, this is obviously a very complex subject, because it's how developers and publishers draw in money. You can't expect everything to be free realistically. Mm-hmm. So what is it? When is paying for cosmetics in a game okay? Tell me. What's a good price?
Well, I mean, to start off, I think paying for cosmetics in a game is okay. I guess just generally speaking, if it's just cosmetics, like I wouldn't even like because most people, the classic answer is like, "Oh, if the game's free to play, then fine." But if I spend like £60 on the game, I don't want to pay for these things extra. But then I still think it's fine in a full price game as well because it's just cosmetics. You can absolutely live without it. I don't need to have a like when the new Battlefield comes out, if they release like a really cool pink carbine skin, and I'm like, I love pink, I want that. That's my choice, and it doesn't affect my gameplay or anything like that. It'll put a little cheeky smile on my face when I see it, and I can flex in front of my mates. But like, it's completely optional. So like, I actually have nothing against the idea of it, but the price of it is quite controversial because I do think that the way Respawn do it with Apex is it's too much. It's too much. I understand they're a free to play game, and you can even unlock all the additional characters with like the in-game currency that they just flood you with. Like, so you don't actually need to spend money to unlock any of the new characters. Realistically, do you? Like, you can buy everything in game. Like, as far as that, and that is the
if
real
you play
content.
as much as we do, yeah.
I guess so, but like they chuck that currency at you, that in-game currency. Like, I have like 200,000 of it, and it takes like 12,000 to unlock a new character.
It does, but you've got to remember as well that the battle pass gives you XP boosts on the way through if you buy the battle pass. So that speeds up your acquisition of the red currency, whatever they're called.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
So that's, I mean, I know we play a lot, but that's part of the reason why we just get, because we level up every other game, so it's like, or whatever.
But I do still think realistically, without like, I don't think it would be a grind, and to unlock all the characters without spending a penny in Apex, I genuinely don't think it'd be a grind. And you could just buy them, the ones you want to play first, and each character is so unique that you're quite happy to like unlock the newest one, Valkyrie, play her for ages. Because you're really enjoying her, her playstyle is completely different to anyone else, and then you've accumulated loads more red currency by that point anyway when you're ready to unlock another one. So like, you can definitely do that, and that is where the real content of the game lies, and you don't have to spend a penny there, which is great. And I think that's a really good system. I think they kind of nailed it there. But yeah, the cosmetics is kind of insane, and the way they do it, if you wanted to buy the skins with what they call crafting materials, which is like another currency you get when you acquire duplicated items, which I think a lot of these games do. If you get an item which is duplicated, you've had it already, it gives you like 500 scrap, because you already have this. But the amount of scrap you need to get these legendaries is just insane. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like 300% of what the value of it is.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point, because I don't actually think that Apex does duplicates. I mean, they dilute the loot pool with crafting materials. So like, instead of when you roll a blue, there's a chance that instead of getting a new item, you'll just get a certain amount of crafting materials.
It's essentially the same thing.
It is tricky, because I would say that's a bit better, because it's funny that, because as we go further with this, there's more and more the consumer like understands about the system that is being used against them. And like, I remember this being a thing a while back when we started shifting away from like, these microtransactions aren't attached to power, and like, people start like, you start seeing it as a selling point on games. Cosmetics don't give you power level, and it's like, congratulate, like, wow. So like, after that, we've kind of now had this stage of like, don't roll duplicates, because like, a lot of the time, because we're not necessarily just talking about Apex here, we can look at Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, and how egregious that was, or Destiny, I think, can be a bit egregious as well. And the problem with duplicates is that if there's Overwatch, if you've got like a limited set of item, I think sometimes it can be gamers get worried that is going to be used as an excuse to not add more items, or that the pool of stuff you can get is limited, because they're like, well, you can just keep getting the same stuff and we'll just keep giving you crafting mats, and then when you hit enough crafting mats, you can buy whatever you want in 3 years. So it's just, I just think it's quite interesting that like even in the last 10 years, you can see how the perception around microtransactions has changed and how the industry has reacted to it. Do you know what I mean? Because most people don't like try to stay away from duplicates now. They try to stay away from microtransactions being attached to power. So I don't know where it's going next, because I think the price is a real problem, and that's not even talking about battle passes. Because
I mean, the I don't have an issue with battle passes as far as cosmetics are concerned. I actually think that is the way to do it. Like, I think if you're going to have cosmetics in your game for an additional price, I think packaging them all through this like one big journey that also increases player retention, keeps them coming back, and they just, it's decent value for money. I mean, Apex is another example. The battle pass is only like, I think it's like 10 quid maybe, and like you get a lot of stuff. Not this one. The most recent one has been shocking, but normally
you do get a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
the quality of it is up for debate.
Yeah, normally the quality is pretty good, but this season it was pretty bad. But yeah, and I think that's the best way of doing it, and it just keeps players coming back as well, rather than just one-time purchases. Like, I think even from a business perspective, it increases the amount your players log in and how regularly they log in and everything. I do think that's the best way to do it.
And I think, if you think about why gamers have like a problem with microtransactions, even in a free game, even if the prices are reasonable, whatever that is, I guess that's subjective, but even if they're reasonable, I think a lot of people worry, and I think there can be a bit of entitlement in the community. I think a lot of people worry that like the feeling of progression is getting robbed from them a bit. But it's like people like that. People like having that stick, that carrot on a stick to try to kind of get, even if it's not vertical progression, even if it's not power level, it's just like, oh, here's some nice skins for the things that I'm using to spice up the variety.
Mm-hmm.
I think people worry it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can get access to all the content, but I can play for 100 hours and nothing will have changed. Obviously, I'm still enjoying the game, and I just think that's kind of interesting that we're at a point where people can be distressed that, despite the gameplay, regardless of how 10 out of 10 the gameplay is, if they aren't getting a pink, candy floss skin for their gun, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, they do. It feels, you almost feel unfulfilled, don't you? You still feel like there's a void that needs filling. I mean, the solution really is to just kill people with those skins and pick up their guns, right?
Yeah, you got
it. That's the solution. If you're a cheapskate, just get really good at the game, murder everyone, and just take their skins, man. Use it for the game.
I remember
hack the system.
Yeah, and because it's so weird, because like this, you get so many different angles to it, because some people are like, oh, don't do any sort of loot boxes or randomization, just let me buy it outright. But then I think you're kind of robbing yourself, because this brings me back to like one of the old like Diablo game designers used to say that players tend to optimize the fun out of their games if you give them that opportunity to do so. Gamers like self-sabotage, and you can see that because we've all done it. In Borderlands loot games, you find a exploit, don't you, and you farm that shit because it's kind of fun, and then you get the powerful stuff, and then you can take that to other places, and that's kind of fun. What I think is part of the problem with just allowing people to directly buy stuff is that you buy what you want and then you're done. The progression's done. Okay, obviously you keep updating, you keep adding stuff. And I think Halo Infinite is doing something similar to this, where there's just like, there's challenge-based stuff and there's stuff you can buy directly, but like, I can just buy what I like, the coolest stuff in the store, and then what? It kind of removes that I really want that, I'm going to keep playing because I hope I roll that, I can see, you can definitely make a monetary argument for why things are randomized. Like, well, obviously, yes, like it gets more money, but at the same time, could you make an argument for randomization being a genuine progression mechanic?
Yeah, I do. I do think it's fun. Like, it's both annoying and fun, because I know playing games like Destiny, like, it was, it was really fun to see these loot drops and, try and get the best roll possible on your guns. And you're like, oh, this one's slightly better. It's like, it's not even like better by much. It's just slightly better, but you're so happy about it. And you're like, I'm fucking nice, and it feels fulfilled, and like that, that is fun to a lot of people for that sort of genre. But and I agree with what you said, with the fact that if you just give it to everyone, they just purchase what they want, and then there's nothing else to chase. Similar to when there's exploits. Like, I remember when we for like Borderlands, and especially Destiny, when we did like the loot cave and just grinded everything. We actually started like questioning the game afterwards, because we were just like, what else do we do now? Like, we have everything. Like, what do I chase? What do I do? I just smashed in Crota's back doors with the best weapons ever. That's the pinnacle thing. Like, that's it. And you've done it like 5 times faster because of this exploit. And you're kind of just done with the game.
Yeah, so absolutely. And I'm going to type this in. I'm going to slap you all with some science right now. So there's this known effect called the overjustification effect, and it's this idea. Yeah. So when we think about what motivates us to do things, you can apply this in real life or games, whatever. That we usually break it down into 2 categories. There's like intrinsic motivation, and then there's extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic is like, you want to do something because you genuinely want to do it. You have an actual interest in it. You want to do it because you want to do it. External, so that might be, I'm trying to think of an example. It might be me just playing it. I play games because I enjoy games. Things like that. I watch movies because I enjoy movies. Yada yada yada. Extrinsic motivation is doing something because you want what happens afterwards. You do so. That might be studying for an exam so you get a good grade in the exam. That might be going for a run.
It's the end goal. Okay.
Going for a run so that you're fitter afterwards. And that's not to say it can't be both. You can have bits of both. But like, what I think can happen, and I definitely felt this a couple of seasons ago with like battle passes, but like, what I think can happen in these sorts of games where there is like a grind, is that you're playing for, and I'm sure there is a bit of intrinsic there because you enjoy the process of grind, but if you're doing it purely for the end goal, then it becomes a bit more extrinsic. So, and that's where things like exploits and like getting immediately to the end becomes a bit of a problem. And the overjustification effect basically observes that and has demonstrated that when you, if you're fueled by extrinsic motivation, and then you get there, you get the outcome, it undermines the intrinsic motivation. So it undermines how much you actually want to do it. So by the time you've got it, you're like, I don't really want to keep doing this. You're like, even though you've had so much fun for 200 hours, grinding and, trying to get to the end. Once you get to the end, you're like, I don't really want to do anymore. Like, I don't have that extrinsic motivation. I don't want to keep doing this, even though it would be exactly the same to what I was just doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of this idea.
A perfect example of that is one of our friends, isn't it? Caden. Literally, yeah. He always does it with every game we play, like Destiny or Borderlands, whatever. He's just like, what do I do now? Like, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done, right? I have all the legendaries. And he's barely used them. Like, he hasn't like changed his build to be like, oh, this is fun, this is all that. But he's just like, he just ticks the boxes, and he's just like, what's there to do left? Like, give me more boxes to tick, or I'm out.
Yeah, he's what I would call a checkbox gamer for sure.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's a little bit.
God bless him.
Yeah. But no, I completely agree, and I think a lot of the way I play these things, I think it is a combination of both. Like, it's reaching that power peak, that I feel like a god moment, as the extrinsic goal. And I also just enjoy the journey along the way as well. And looking back at it when I was younger, I did enjoy all these exploits, and I'm like, hey, legendaries. But like now, I actually wouldn't want to do that. I'd actually want to make the game last more and get more of my money's worth out of it. And I guess a lot of that comes on just your outlook on games as well, and growing up or whatever. Because when we were younger, I remember sitting in a corner farming headshots to get a full camouflage on Call of Duty. But like, I wouldn't do that now. Like my outlook on games has completely changed. So
can you imagine being like having the free time, like being such a free spirit, where you could like just sit in corners, invite your mate in, go into the corner with a bat, just keep headshotting each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow, what a time to be alive.
Yeah. When I should have been doing homework, I'm sitting in a corner of a free-for-all lobby shooting my friend in the head.
You got an orange leafy camo though for your gun.
Yeah, exactly.
For your foul.
For my foul, yeah. Yeah, so it's just weird. I don't know. It's situational as well. It depends on your personality, and it depends. There's a lot of variables to it, and these game companies exploit these personalities in people, which is obviously comes to the topic of addiction and all this kind of stuff with these sort of things. If people have addictive personalities and stuff like that, then loot boxes can be a no-no. But it's just like, I don't know, you can't base a whole sort of gaming
system around the
minority of people that have an addictive personality. Where I have self-control. I don't want to be shafted because I've got some gremlin over here that can't control his own wallet. Like, I don't know. But
from what I understand, there isn't, but a lot of people throw that term around. Addictive personality. From what I understand in the reading, there isn't much evidence for, but however, that's not to say that systems can't be put in place that are exploitative. It's just that people aren't born to be addictive. It's just that when you have these systems in place, you're essentially rolling a 1 in 1 million dice that someone is going to, make a sequence of decisions that are going to put them in a pretty bad spot. So it's not to say they can't be exploitative, but I do. Because I know people throw around that term addictive personality, but I find it is very, very interesting how kind of that all works, and especially because I remember feeling this in some battle passes, not even Apex, when we used to play Smite as well. I remember getting to the end, you get your big fancy camo, whatever, yay, and then you're kind of like, because it's not that you're playing, but you're not getting the same reward. It's obviously everyone says like, oh, you're not getting that same dopamine tick and all of that. But it kind of is, because you're essentially playing for less then. And I've seen a couple of games try to counteract this. I remember Smite did like a prestige battle pass where like you bought it and you have like 60 levels, and then once you've done it, it takes you back to level 1, and for those next 160 levels, it's a lot sparser, but there is still stuff in it. And the final, the prestige level 60 was a recolor of the original one. So it's just, and to be honest, I think it's a pretty good idea. It's very minimal work for the devs, but it does give people something to go for who have that much time. I mean, most people aren't going to get that, really. But it just keeps you on that track of like, oh, there's something coming up. But then it begs the question of like, are we really playing games for colors on a gun or a person, rather than just for having fun? And like, you're totally right. Like you said earlier, it's play the game because you're enjoying it, what you're playing. You'll find yourself much more settled rather than being obsessed with the thing at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think I've definitely developed into a gamer that does that, where I don't think I did used to be someone with that sort of mentality. But what I find really interesting is why, as an example, again, of Apex and my most recent purchase of the Revenant heirloom, why I thought it was okay just to dump like 70 quid into that without thinking. And I was on the fence about buying Resident Evil 8 for 60 quid for like a month. Like, what's wrong with my brain? Like, why is that a thing? It was without hesitation. I was literally just like, I want it. Like, it's cool. It's 70 quid, and like, I guess the sort of what really made me do it as well was, one, it was cool, and two, I felt like I was getting a bargain out of it, because I was just like, oh, I can craft this and craft this and craft this, and I'm actually getting it for like 30 quid less than like a standard price. But I'm also still spending 70 odd quid. But it feels like great value for me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's weird.
I know that there are these. I mean, this isn't my field, but I know there are tricks that they, there are some things that we know, encourage like change consumer behavior, and that there is a lot of morally grey area there. That honestly, and I've said this before, that I feel like legislation simply hasn't caught up to yet. It's mostly a bunch of old people in legislation, and then you say to them, video games are using loot boxes, and they're like, loot boxes? What's that? So it's like, oh Jesus, because there are a couple of countries, I think Germany's like starting to get on it, and I think UK here as well, where there's like bodies looking into it. But things like scarcity is a well-known thing that makes people buy. When you say, hey, you've only got 3 days, it won't be a deal after that. And so we did this. I said to you the other day, we were looking at like kitchens, because we're looking to do like a conversion. And the guy said to us at the end, it was like, oh well, he gave us a price, because he did exactly the same thing. He gave us a price, and I was like, oh, it's quite high, it's a bit steep, I don't think so. And he was like, okay, well, whatever. We got to the end, and it was like, this is what the price is with all the discounts applied, which I think he secretly knew it was going to go down to that. It effectively came down to like 60% of the price. And I was like, oh fuck, that's a great deal. So like, the first trick is creating an anchor point, and this is what they do in Apex all the times. They sell you something really high, expecting that people won't buy it, and then a month or two later, they offer the same thing or other things at like 70% of the price, and you're like, whoa, that's really good. So that's the first thing, and the second thing, scarcity. And then he said to us, you've got to lock in this price and commit to it, sign the contract by Wednesday, otherwise I can't guarantee the deal's going to be there. Which, again, he fully well knew the deal will have still been there after this, but the idea that it will go away, it's kind of a sunk cost. I've invested a lot of time into looking into this. I've done all the X and Y's and Z's. So if I don't look into it, I feel like I've wasted my time. So like it's all of these things. Battle Pass is a sunk cost fallacy as well. You bought, and that's the one thing. Despite me saying, "Oh, enjoy the journey," it's the one thing that always fucking gets its hooks in me, because I get to like level 80, and if I'm feeling like I'm not going to get to the end, I'm like, I've spent money on this. I've bought this with my hard-earned money. I should get this. And so I do think there's a bit of like there's a dubious area with that as well, because why are people buying something that they aren't getting?
Yeah.
Is there a case to be made that at the end of the season, everyone should just get everything on the Battle Pass if they've bought it? Like, if you get it along the way and you get it early, cool. But because I think it can be a bit cheeky, and no one really speaks about it. Some people even defend it. They're like, because obviously people with a lot of time who complete it, and they're like, I feel special because I got to the end and you didn't. But then it's like, people have bought things and aren't. It's just so weird. Like, you wouldn't see it in any other industry. Imagine going to like Blockbusters, rest in peace. Anything like that, to rent a movie, and they're like, well, we'll give you the first episode now. I don't know. Maybe you'll get the rest. Maybe.
Or it's almost like using your kitchen as an example as well. Like, you buy it, and they're like, well, you have to install 50% of it, so we're not doing all that work. You have to plumb in the sink, buddy. It's just like,
you can have the sink in the fridge. Who knows if you get the rest of it? You might not. We've already taken all your money, but
exactly.
So, and I think this is like. It's an evolving question that I think will continue to it will continue to be spoken about as it should be, because there is, and I don't want to hear these are just businesses, they're just making money. I don't want to hear that. Businesses have an obligation to be morally sound as well. I don't like, and this is that you can make the whole argument this out. Oh, this is just capitalism, corporations. Motivations are profits, not your feelings. And it's like, well, hope they don't send a gun to my house and start taking my money if that's their only motivation. It's like it's like, clearly there is a moral obligation to a degree, and it's just, I think we need to hold them to a higher standard, or there needs to be better regulation if they're not going to do it, which they doesn't look like they are. So
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's at the point where it's completely out of control yet. Anyway, like,
no,
I don't know. I don't look
it's
at
a healthier
many
play.
Yeah. I don't look at many games and be like, oh, that's not okay. You know, like that's kind of like I want to take them to court. Apart from Battlefront 2, like that was kind of a line in the sand. But like apart from that hiccup, generally, you know, it's on that blurred line. It's not completely immoral, but it's just, you know, it's fine. We haven't got to the point where it's outrageous yet. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, there's and this isn't the only. Like for a lot of this stuff, you know, like what I said earlier, it's not the only industry to do that. But you know, I think you know the games industry has an advantage where it can kind of hide the mechanics of its stuff behind a game, and that's where it starts to get tricky. And then you know, there's more transparency nowadays. A lot of games like show you the percentage chance on stuff, which you know very well should be. And I guess I mean I wanted because you said earlier about full price games as well, and you said that you felt that was okay. Which I mean, hopefully you don't get sniped after this episode goes live for saying
it's just
that.
cosmetic, though.
Yeah,
What's the issue?
well, because people say the game. Why is that not just in the game? They say why try and charge me more?
Yeah, like I do expect things to be in the game, like the whole Call of Duty headshots, unlock camo sort of thing. I expect a lot of cosmetics to still be in game, but if they release like a spicy seasonal one and they're like, oh, this one's Japanese themed because it's Chinese New Year or something like that, then I'm okay with that costing an additional price if you want it. But yeah, I still expect cosmetics to be in the game. I don't expect everything to just be like, all your guns and all your skins are grey and boring. Buy our things, otherwise you'll be grey and boring for your entire journey. Like, no, like, okay, I guess I'll rephrase the way I said it, even though I'll probably be dead anyway by this point.
Yeah, you will,
when the video comes up. No, yeah, it's just, I still expect there to be stuff, but just additional things that are like themed or just you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean, and I am somewhat in agreement, to be honest, because I just think you have to be a lot more careful if you're charging full price. Like I understand that if a game is going to be supported for a longer time, you need money to keep that going. You got to pay people, and I don't know why people forget that. And this is when I said earlier that I think they can be entitlement in the community. I don't know why people forget that if a game has gone on for a year, okay, they've made money on the launch. Now what? It's like it can't be free forever, can it? Like, you know, so it's, you know, I think there can be a lot of entitlement there. So, and I just wonder if a lot of these games just released as like a normal game and said, look, we are going to release more monetization as and when the game needs it. And, you know, it makes me think, like, would that soften the blow? I know they'd be losing out money from the start because people wouldn't be buying monetization, but at least then people would be like, okay, well, they're adding these options because from this point on is when they need that extra money to fuel the ongoing development.
Yeah, I think that
at least from from a customer standpoint, because we've seen some games doing that to dodge the bad reviews of like Microsoft, which is so fucking funny. Like they're so stupid. Because it works. That's the worst thing. It works, and like you know, a lot of the community is like very obsessed with like Metacritic scores and OpenCritic scores and everything. So when you know they just delay it a month or two, and they're like, "Oh, it's got you." Oh,
yeah.
Give me your money.
Yeah, that is really sneaky, and that is pretty not okay. Like for a company to do. Like that's just them being an actual snake, like just trying to get away with it.
Like an oil salesman,
yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting topic, and I think we see kind of eye to eye. I think I think you're a little bit less accepting to it generally, but I think we kind of see eye to eye, right?
No, definitely. No, I'm not one of those people. I don't understand how anybody can like with a straight face tell me that microtransactions shouldn't exist. Period. Because a lot of these games have ongoing costs. I do agree that they need to be careful with how they do them. And as we've discussed today, I don't think direct purchases is necessarily the way forward. It's and you could also make the argument that doesn't generate enough profit. If they did that, and you're only going to spend a tenner as opposed to more money because it's randomized, then they're not going to get enough profits and the game can't go on as long. And we haven't even touched on, you expect these things in a free to play game, and I think at that point you have to think about how much money is your time worth.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing a free to play game and you've gotten 30 hours out of it, well, you would spend 65 quid now on a 30-hour single player game, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's just this inbuilt resistance to if it's free to play, it's I'm not spending any money. Some people just have that wall up, and I remember watching the video of a psychologist talking about this stuff that said that there's a subsection of players who just are just utterly resistant, and for those players it's don't even bother. They don't even try and pull those players in. That it's because they're just hell bent on everything being free, and they just will not pay for anything. And I mean that could be because somebody doesn't have the budget to do so, and that's absolutely reasonable and fine. But I just think it's why don't you feel that they deserve any money? I guess if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But it's just if it's based on the principle of I'm not going to pay for anything because I deserve this to be it's my right for this to be free. It's it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, maybe it's just younger kids who don't have access to money yet.
But, yeah.
Hope you lagged out a bit there. Are you back?
Oh, yeah. I'm back. Yeah, I think I got a little bit of lag on your end as well. But
what did you say?
No, I was just saying. I don't know why they feel like they're entitled to not give these people money when they work hard on it and they've given them something that they're playing and enjoying or whatever. I don't think it's a big deal personally. At the end of the day, these people are employed to create this sort of artwork, this fun for you and everything. Why do you expect everything to be free? I don't know. I don't understand people like that. And yeah,
I'm trying to think because I was watching a podcast yesterday, and was it? I think it was the Kind of Funny Xcast, and one of the panel members made a really good point about phone stores, the iOS store, the Android, the Play Store, whatever it's called in Android, and because I'm like this as well. And is it just because when things are free, and there, I could, now that I think about it, there are quite a few effects and theories that do fit into this, but when there's an expectation that things will be free, you're way more sensitive to a price increase. So when you go on the iOS store, you go on there and everything's free, and then if there's something that you kind of want but it's £1.99, you're oh god, no, I'm not buying that. And even though it's it's nothing, it's absolutely nothing, but you just there's this resistance because you're I can probably find a substitute for free even if it's covered in ads and kind of shit. So I think it's kind of a similar thing because there's this thing called maybe I'm misapplying it, but it sounds kind of right. It's the broken window effect. It's kind of the idea that if you see something that's already been mistreated or is in a bad state, people tend to act in a way which is congruent with that. So they will treat it badly. So if you go to someone's house and it's not kept very well, you're okay throwing shit on the floor. You're okay, if that's cracked windows, whatever. But if it's kept well, then you tend to keep it like that. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing, when you see the App Store free, you're I'm only getting free stuff. So
yeah. No, it's and you kind of made a valid point where for games like Apex is another example. All these skins and all these things that cost money, these cosmetics, that is funding the staff to keep creating content and keep the game going as well. So if you enjoyed this game and you enjoy playing it, then one, you're getting cool cosmetics that you like looking at and are great, and two, you're kind of you're funding future development for the game to continue, and you can have improvements to it and carry on playing it. Without that, the game might die quicker, and it is a very, I don't know, I'm kind of okay with it when I think about it that way as well. I think that's fair enough, right?
But Yeah, definitely. But I think it becomes easier to swallow the more invested you are in that game. Like with Apex, with Smite, even with like Destiny to a degree, all of these games that you've played a lot and you are comfortable with, you're like, okay, I'm okay with spending a bit of money in this. Like I'm going to get my money's worth. At least that's how I think anyway. Maybe other people don't. But
Yeah.
when you're just trying a game out, when you're testing the waters, there is kind of that resistance because you're like, oh, I don't know if I can commit to this. So there is that umming and ahhing of like, it's not established. Is it going to last? Like, because if the game isn't going to last, I don't want to spend money in a game that's going to be dead in a year. Like rest in peace, people who bought stuff in Anthem. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and stuff like Bleeding Edge as well. Did Bleeding Edge have like microtransactions? I think it did.
Do you know? I don't know.
I think it did, but yeah, I do.
Probably did.
Yeah, I do kind of get that. And it also funds like community events as well, and like pro like tournaments and stuff like that, and it all goes to like the prize pools for these this entertainment you like to
like
watch,
for
like esports and stuff like that, which I think is cool as well. Like, these people compete for money for your entertainment, and the money is pulled together from the purchases you made of these skins in game and stuff like that. Like it's providing you with even more entertainment because you're spending money, you're getting a cool skin, you enjoy using that skin, and then you're also enjoying watching the esports that it's funding as well. So like, yeah, there are definitely, I'm okay with it, really.
Yeah, I think
in its current state.
Because there's even like a subsection of the community who will like shame you for like buying stuff in a game. We're like, I can't believe you're letting them get away with this, and it's like it's like, oh, well, okay, I can kind of do what I want with my money. Fuck you. But there is also a degree of like, the other side of it. Like we've said, is I do think the publishers of these games need to be careful with how openly they're trying to trick you. Like I said, with the anchor points, with the sunk costs of the battle passes, it's just like, hey, it's £20 for a skin, and everyone's like, £20, and then and then they reduce it down to 15. You're like, oh, that's a bargain, even though £50 is still fucking extortionate for a single skin. And so then you're really alert when an actual good deal, but it's still not good, but it's good relative. That's the thing; it's all relative. So I just think they need to be careful with how they're appropriating that, because I think that gets into the realm of like, we're okay with buying stuff in your game, like we've said, we're okay with funding it, but don't take the piss. Essentially, that's what if I could write it down in legislation, monetize your game, don't take the piss like that. That was what I would say.
Just one line, that's it. Everyone sign it. Everyone in this room sign it.
Yeah. Boom, sorted,
done. Yeah,
great. Oh, good. I think that was a really healthy conversation. Is there anything else you wanted to close out on? Because there's just a few bits to go before we finish off the episode.
No. I think we covered that pretty nicely. So no, I've covered all my thoughts on it and how I feel about it.
Cool. I mean, as we're in sort of the battle pass age at the moment, that's we can probably stay away from that. But if that continues to develop, I'm sure it's a topic we'll come back to.
Yes.
Alrighty, so I said at the beginning of the episode today. Oh, there was actually something I really wanted to touch on. I should have said this earlier, but that's fine. I'm going to say it now. So, have you seen? There's been a new Witcher game announced.
What? Really? I'm guessing it's not what you wanted. What is it?
It's Pokemon Go. It's Pokemon Go. But Witcher.
What? I'm sorry, what? I had no idea that was a thing. Being like, why? Why? Jesus, that's so weird.
I know. I saw it pop up on my. I saw it pop up on my. I saw it pop up on my feed, and I was like, "Holy shit, what is this?" And I clicked on it, and it was just somebody looking through their phone, and like, there's a fucking like, what are those little blue things called?
Drowners.
Drowners. That's the one. Yeah, they were like hissing around, and they were like swiping on it to chop it, and I'm like, "What have you done?" Killing a necker with your finger. I don't know.
God.
This age of like AR games needs to die. Like nobody, like Pokemon Go is a freak success, and to be honest, that's the only series where like that crossover could work. If you want to make an AR game, just do your own fucking thing. Stop trying to make popular IPs into AR games. They're literally, it's just because everyone's seen Pokemon Go, they're like, oh, I want a slice of that pie. And then like, oh, let's make a Witcher one. Oh, look, a Griffin. Let's fucking kill it. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit for certain games. I know that Elder Scrolls did one as well. Elder Scrolls Blades, was it called or something?
Yeah,
I think that was very.
Oh no, that was an AR.
Lukewarm.
That was an AR.
Yeah, but it was still a shitty mobile game. You just fucking swiped. But yeah, I guess it wasn't AR.
Yeah, I know it's not. I would rather have an AR. I would rather have a mobile Witcher game than. I mean, if I had, it's like choosing between a piece of shit or like a rotten piece of shit. I would take the piece of shit any day. Elder Scrolls Blades, it wasn't exactly ideal, was it? But this is just an insult. This is just an insult. And this is coming off the back of Cyberpunk. This is like their next release. And I know they've been working on this for years, but man, the PR like disaster continues for CD Projekt Dead.
Yeah, what's wrong with them? Why did they ride in the wave so high and now they're just fucking drowning like 100 feet below the wave? I don't understand. The fuck happened?
It's just stupid.
It's pressure, man. Pressure of being a top dev.
Really bummed me out. I wish I hadn't brought it up.
We like it again. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's awful. I didn't even realise that was a thing. But that's awful.
Because even the thing is, they must have, like I said, it's been in development for years. But do you remember Minecraft Earth? That was a thing that happened. It died last month. It died. Minecraft. What makes you think this is going to work? Like, do you know what I mean? This is when I say Pokemon Go. There are a couple of other AR games that aren't like based on big IPs that are like doing fine, but like Pokemon Go, like broke records and everything. Whatever, it did amazing. It is an outlier in terms of success, but it's still bleeding players quite quickly. Like, it's not doing that well anymore. But they must have seen Minecraft die. As they're in like their last 2 months of development for this Witcher this AR thing, and be like, oh no! I think this might have been a mistake. Like, I'm not.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. It's definitely a mistake. Like,
it's definitely a mistake.
I can't see that game catching any traction at all. It's stupid. It sounds stupid.
It looks stupid.
I don't think you could. I think that is the one thing that you could
that wouldn't work with Witcher.
That could turn the Witcher into just make
a laughing
it lame.
stock. Yeah,
just make it fucking lame and just laughable and just shit. I think that is the one thing. Yeah, and they fucking did it.
They've managed to make a spin-off card game. Wow. They managed to make Gwent a spin-off game that worked. They managed to make like a story-driven, like, what was it, Telltale kind of game, or like Bar. What was it? Bar. They did another one that was like kind of good. That was based on The Witcher as well. But this is just disgusting.
Yeah, it's really not okay.
It's an abomination.
Yeah. Shame on you, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, whatever. It's gonna die, and I'm gonna be sad. So whatever. That's that. All right. So in terms of the very, very slim bits of news this week, there was a new background, and there's some more colours added for the new lovely dynamic backgrounds on the Series S and X. I couldn't see the colours. Like, there's supposed to be an option to like add a couple more, but when I tried to do it, I couldn't see them. But even though on the Xbox Wire page, it showed me in the video that it was there. So I don't know, maybe that is just glitched out or something. But there is a lovely new dynamic background. It's not as cool as the other one, I don't think, but it's still nice. I still want game themed ones, but hopefully we'll get there one day.
Well, it's cool that they're still adding them, so keep adding them. Give me more.
What one do you have at the moment? Do you have the dotty one?
Yeah, I have the little wispy one, yeah.
Yeah, that one's
it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah, I have like an orange background as well, so they just look like fireflies, like all over my screen. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I've got orange as well.
Yeah, nice. Respect.
In sync. Okay, and we get to say this now because id Tech is a first-party studio. Who are we? Doom. So I don't. Doom, obviously, when it came out, had like a couple of bits of DLC planned. They had the Ancient Gods Part 1, Ancient Gods Part 2. Both have done fairly well. The second more than the first. But they also had an invasion mode planned, which I didn't know about this until I saw the news this week. But apparently they said this at launch. And invasion mode was going to be like a Dark Souls-esque, like invade other characters' campaigns as a monster.
Yeah,
because they obviously already have that feature in battle mode in the 2v1, like where you play as a monster. So it's just literally porting it over, which it sounds really cool. So that's a nice idea.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really. Actually, I genuinely think that could work. Like, in Doom, I think that's a really cool idea.
And I think it would have worked had they managed to get it up and running earlier. But obviously, COVID has slowed them down. Maybe they wanted to do it before the big DLCs, but now. But they've said kind of because of development difficulties and COVID having slowed them down, it's just kind of like most people are done with the campaign now. They're not playing it, so they'd just be wasted effort. So they're not going to do that anymore. So maybe if they can port that idea over to their next game. If it is Quake, we spoke about a potential Quake last week, or if they ever come around to doing another Doom, maybe they can get that in for launch because I like the idea of that.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. Yeah, and it isn't wasted. Developer time because, like you said, I'm sure it'll be reused in some way or so it's not just like in the bin forever. So it's a really cool idea, and hopefully it does see the light of day sometime. Because I'm genuinely like picturing it right now, and I can see that being pretty fun, pretty damn fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. So they've scrapped that for now. But they are going to instead do a horde mode, like a single player horde mode, which I think, to be fair, is a good fit. Makes sense. They can charge, a tenner for it. I think it fits Doom quite well, and they'll probably add some nice little progression as you go. So I think it kind of works. So yeah, it's just a bit of an update on that.
Yeah, horde mode sounds pretty cool for Doom. Yeah.
I was on the lookout for like a co-op mode on it, but they did say it'd just be single player, unfortunately. But I do think like a co-op mode would have worked quite well. Yeah,
it's definitely the sort of thing where if it's done in waves, and like I could definitely see people enjoying it. Like if there's like a timer for each wave, you kill the wave, you move on, sort of thing. So people want to be as efficient as possible and just be like, I did 100 waves in 42 minutes or something like that. It could be like a really cool. Like speed running mechanic and stuff like that, which I think a lot of Doom players, I think that's right up their alley, is that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that could be really cool. Yeah, definitely fits.
Yeah, I agree. Excellent. Well, I mean, that's it for the news. That's literally it. So 50 minutes talking about loot boxes and about 10 minutes talking about even less, 3 minutes talking about Doom in a background. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's all right though. They still got their daily dose of quick resume, and
got the QRP.
And they actually got to see our faces as well. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, I didn't even show. There's my shirt.
Oh yeah, respect, man.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. Is there anything else?
Oh, sorry. I tried to do that away from the mic.
Yeah, I was going to say, blow my ears out.
But yeah, hopefully the whole like video audio thing looks alright. I think I've had a couple lag spikes, but hopefully it looks alright from your guys' end.
I think it has been a bit pixelated throughout, so we might need to think about trying to do some different things with internet to make it as good as possible. Because I know people are like professional and they would record it independently on their end. Yeah. I'll look into it, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's great. It's growing pains. We're trying something new, so it's not going to be perfect first time, but at least it's something. So
yeah, it's something, man.
Quit your bitching, and we're not charging you for it. So
yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna cue the outro music right now in post. So anything to say before we wrap up?
No. no, that's everything. That's everything from me. It's been a wonderful show, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing our faces and hearing us talk about loot boxes because of the lack of news. But you know, I'm sure these topics are still very interesting, and obviously give us your thoughts on that if you feel like it. If you've stumbled across this video, feel free to give us your thoughts in the comments below or anything. So yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't done so already, guys, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more. Or, well, I know, you know what, not or, and leave us some questions or comments in the chat. And
follow our socials.
Follow our socials, man. Yeah,
yeah, we're pretty hot shit on Twitter. I say we. It's this guy. This guy's
me.
Hot shit on Twitter.
I scheduled a tweet today. I'm very advanced.
What?
I'm an advanced Twitter user. Yeah.
Oh my god! What was the tweet? Yeah. I need to know. What did you share?
Well, you can go and find out at, twitter.com/quickresume-pod.
Oh, wow. That's very informative. I'll go do that now.
You should go and do that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Rob, we're going to go. See you later. Bye.